So the first and one of the most important reasons that Ronald Reagan would be in a Hall of Fame was due to his economic strategy known as Reaganomics. So basically, it's kind of a trickle-down effect that we still feel today, but the inflation rate went from 12.5 to 4.4%, and the unemployment rate went from 7.5 to 5.4%. So we saw drastic increases in job opportunity and decreases in inflation, which really bolstered the United States economy. So the second reason why Ronald Reagan should be in the Hall of Fame, the fictional Hall of Fame that is, was because the federal income tax rates were lowered significantly when he signed the Economic Recovery Tax Act of 1981. And this effectively lowered the top marginal tax bracket from 70 to 50%, and the lowest bracket went from 14 to 11%. So again, like Reaganomics, it just significantly increased the American morale and bolstered the American economy, and the recovery taxes were something unprecedented. Reagan did many things with the economy in order to support the American people, and this was the second big thing that he really did in order to improve our economic status. So the third major reason why Ronald Reagan should be in the Hall of Fame is because he negotiated with Russia to sign the INF Treaty, which is the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. And basically what it did was it shrunk the nuclear arsenal of both Russia, the USSR, and the United States in order to demilitarize and depressurize the Cold War situation so that we could strengthen relations with the USSR. So the fourth major thing that President Ronald Reagan did during his presidency was give the Brandenburg Gate speech. And in the speech, he challenged Gorbachev to, quote, tear down this wall, or tear down that wall. And effectively, he just kind of challenged Gorbachev to get rid of the wall that divided East and West Berlin so that these people could be reunited, so that people could choose which side they wanted to be on, so people could be free, so people could experience capitalism. So overall, he just wanted to get these two provinces reunited, and eventually he sought to strengthen relations between America and the USSR by issuing this challenge to General Gorbachev. Lastly, one of the most important things that Ronald Reagan did during his presidency was appoint Sandra Day O'Connor to the Supreme Court. Potter Stewart, a justice, was retiring, so his seat needed to be filled, and Reagan nominated her to take his position. And it was unprecedented because a female had never held this kind of power in the Supreme Court.
I think in most ways, yes. I think probably the most important thing where he was beneficial was the relationship we had with Russia at that time, with the Cold War pretty much ended, and he was instrumental in helping the Berlin Wall come down in eastern Berlin. Yes, I think he was very telegenic and knew how to use his Hollywood background to really be very relatable to the American people as a whole. Yeah, I think that had a big deal to do with it, but also I think also at that time Russia had their leader Gorbachev was instrumental in that too, because I think he wanted the same thing at the same time. That is a very tough one. I think the Reaganomics, the trickle-down economics, I think has been proven to be falsehood. I don't think that really helped. That was mainly tax cuts, and like always, I think they favor the rich and not the general public.
So the first reason to why Benedict Arnold belongs into the fictional Hall of Shame is because in the middle of the Revolutionary War, he decided to trade sides in exchange for the military rank and financial reward that he would receive from the British Army. The second reason to why Benedict Arnold belongs in the fictional Hall of Shame is because he provided the British with troop locations and strengths, as well as locations of supply depots in letters that he sent to Sir Henry Clinton and John Andres. In those letters, he also talked about the compensation that he would receive for giving them this information. The reason to why Benedict Arnold belongs in the fictional Hall of Shame is because he sent letters that contained details of Washington troop movements and provided information to the British about French reinforcements that were being organized so that the British could stop these reinforcemements from happening. The reason to why Benedict Arnold belongs in the fictional Hall of Shame is because he was charged with 13 counts of misbehavior. Some of those included misusing government wagons for personal needs. He also sold goods illegally on the black market, and he also bought goods illegally. And final reason to why Benedict Arnold belongs in the fictional Hall of Shame is because he was willing to surrender West Point and its men up for money that was offered by Sir Henry Clinton. He also told George Washington that West Point was ready for an attack, but he made sure that West Point was not ready. He also tried to set up George Washington's capture as a bonus to giving up West Point. What is your personal opinion about Benedict Arnold?
Benedict Arnold was a unique character in American history. He had started very much as an American patriot, but felt betrayed in many ways by his country and in some ways by Washington, and wanted to become richer and more successful. So he made a transition to the British side in order to get himself in a better position, and it was very selfish, but very human.
In what ways did Arnold change Washington?
I don't think he did a lot to change Washington himself, other than causing Washington to get very angry about the situation. But he definitely caused a reaction in the American people and the Patriot movement against by having betrayed their country. He made people feel even more passionately against the British.
To what extent do you believe Arnold's betrayal of the Continental Army hindered their war effects?
In the end, he did not have a major effect because of the interception of the letter that he had sent that allowed them to head off the danger. If it had not been for the interception of that letter, then the loss of West Point could have been very significant.
Do you believe that Arnold deserved all this bad press for his actions, or did the American people overreact?
Well, there's certainly some level of overreaction. There always is in a wartime, but the action was unquestionably a betrayal of American people, and so from the patriotic point of view, he was definitely a traitor that couldn't be trusted anymore.